And we are live on Facebook. Hello, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Ce soir, c'est en anglais. Si vous voulez voir la version française, il y a la soir. S'il vous plaît, allez voir dans notre page un petit peu plus bas, ça va être là. On était avec Liz, Jen et Richard hier soir. Alors là, on va procéder en anglais. So, hello, everybody. Tonight is our English version of last night that some people were hoping to hear. But we're here tonight with such a little switch of panel. We have Geneviève, who is on our marketing team. Then we have Rhonda and Liz tonight. So what we're trying to do is kind of bring in what we call the kids, because they're a lot younger than all of us, our whiz kids, who are how can I say, they're kind of pushing us, to go with all this advertising and all of these things. And so now we thought, okay, well, now it's their turn to go live and, to be able to, I mean, they're getting to know as much as we do, which is great. They've been with us for a while. But anyways, they're coming up with fantastic ideas. And it's important that we get that out and that you get to know who they are. I know that a lot of you speak with Liz, which has taken over my job because I couldn't keep up with all the emails. And everybody knows Rhonda as well. And then you know that we have our other team, like other team members. We have a whole crew that's on translations now. I'm not going to name them all, but you know about Pierrette. There's Celine's group out in Quebec. The Quebec group is, pretty much developed, but we need to be able to focus all over the place. And with what you're going to see a little bit later with what Geneviève and Richard have come up with, which is PowerShift parties. And that just falls right into Rhonda's hands because she's been talking about communities getting together. We've been repeating this over and over again. But tonight we have a special, some of you know that we're all going to Ottawa on July 30th, 31st, and August 1st. And what we're doing is we're asking everybody to get counted. When you sign your convention of consent, you're already counted there, but we need everybody to show up, as many as possible. And for everybody else to rise across Canada, pretty much like they did during the convoy, so that the world can see that we as Canadian citizens are the official shareholders of the Crown of Canada. We should have been, at least in our new constitution, it should have, well, in the charter, it should have been added to that. And it was never done, wasn't done in 1931, wasn't done in 1960 when decolonization happened. And then it wasn't done in 1982. To make a long story short, through our research, we noticed that our constitution is still sitting in the United Kingdom. So our fight is not with Canada at all. We've got no business with Canada or the Supreme Court. Our deal is with the United Kingdom because they had an obligation to the Canadian citizens and to the Indigenous nations since 1960. They actually signed on to the UN our rights under political and civil rights, which means we are the official owners, co-owners of the Crown of Canada and all of its assets. So we're supposed to be sitting in our constitution above the Crown of Canada and the Queen and the government and the provincial government as well. So, and then we're supposed to be the final decision makers, because you can't have a paper crown kind of control a corporation. A corporation can't control a corporation. It doesn't work like that. You need, the people behind it, which is what common law is and our charter. So under the real common law, we all own a share of this country. We're all responsible for a share of this country. So we're responsible for the debt. Well, what makes you think that we don't own this country if you're responsible for this debt? You didn't co-sign for the government, did you? I did. So anyways, we make a long story short, we have a chance for the first time in history to make history and to also open a new door. Okay, the door's wide open. We only need Canadians to walk through it and go from, being babysat to adults, and to be able to say, hey, yeah, it's the people that rule this country. It's the people that have final say, not the government, and certainly not to bring us into a reset. It's time that the people spoke. Everything that's happened in the last 2 years never should have happened, but there was, the way that they've set it up was a coup d'etat, what I call a coup d'etat. Okay, they stole our rights from us. And in 1982, Pierre Elliott Trudeau stated that, oh, we were going to keep parliamentary democracy, not the power to the people, to the parliament. And this is why the United Kingdom had specified, they had put conditions in our charter. I guess everybody forgot to read it. And I want to make this clear that there's still people alive today. Okay, there's more than one person alive today that wrote that constitution. Many of them are still alive. Jean Chrétien, for one. Okay, so we're going to make that clear. There's not only one, there's many. There's one premier still alive from that era. Yes, Mr. Peckford. And that's his right. Okay, but there was other people involved that participated in that constitution, including the men in the UK. And Rhonda and I have been sharing these documents for a little while there. And, you know, it's kind of ironic that one of the Canadian lawyers was actually saying back then that, well, not too long ago, 2015 or 2014, when the other one wrote his book,
yeah,
that we were still
2013 to 2015 is when the books were written. So there seems to be a 2-year time range in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that gentleman is still alive. And so is the other gentleman who worked on the Kershaw report. Okay. So anyways, it's really great because we're getting to know the real story, but we're still basically a colony under the United Kingdom. And we have the right to self-determine and decide together what system of governance we want. And but nowhere does it say that the government has the final say over the people. So when you go and vote, you actually give the politician the right to become your proxy, your voice for your shares, your one share vote on every issue in Canada, not just one, on every issue. So for Heritage Weekend, long weekend across Canada, and now we know a lot of places called it different names for their civic holiday, but how appropriate is it that we were able to get Parliament Hill for the whole long weekend? Okay, I didn't take it on Friday because I figured people will be just getting organized and have everything, you know, getting to Ottawa. So on Saturday, what we're going to be looking at is a series of events. We want everybody to be on the Hill by 11 a.m. We're already going to be there by 10 a.m. to set up, but we'd like people to arrive so that we can have a march beginning at 11 a.m. Well, so that everybody could get to the Hill by noon in the march. Okay. And we've invited the Indigenous nations. We're starting now to send everything out. And the whole thing is about Canadians and the Indigenous nations coming together as one in our Constitution, as equal shareholders, and based on the two-row Wampum Treaty that we as Canadian citizens have to honor, not the government, the people. And their connection to the Great Law, again, is the oldest living constitution on the planet. And it's still recognized as such at Cornell University. And there's a lot of good teachings there. But the main one is it's the only one that places the people as the final decision makers on this planet, other than other Indigenous nations that did the same, didn't even know each other, but their spiritual teachings, okay, because they're spiritual, all told them the same thing. They all learned the same thing, that, you know, we have the dish with one spoon and then you have Ubuntu. You know, nobody makes a move without the other. And other nations, the same thing. So there's something to be said for that. So we need to get together in order to be able to make this happen. Canadians now have to start learning about the Indigenous traditions and what that two-row meant. And so if you look, we've set up an event for the event. So if you go on our Facebook page here, you'll go to event, and then you'll be able to see the one for Ottawa. And then you go to, they'll bring you just to the main page, and then you have to go to, I think, not communication, what is it, Rhonda, what is that called?
Events, it's the events tab.
Well, events, yeah, but when you go onto the page, it doesn't.
Discussion. Discussion.
It doesn't bring you to the videos yet.
Discussion.
Okay. Yeah, so you go to the discussion and you'll be able to see a lot of the videos that we posted there by the Haudenosaunee, and they're fantastic. Some are long, but some are 36 minutes. The main one is pinned. So we're going to be bringing to you a churro wampum for the event, and the whole thing will be based on us Canadian citizens, you know, coming with respect and to honor, you know, that treaty, because we have to, otherwise we can't move forward. And but you need to learn about it. So the only way you can really open up to them is to come and see what all of this is about. We'll have speakers talking about it, and then we'll have, you know, not meet and greets, but I'm just trying to figure out, we're hoping to have native indigenous dances, and that, but everybody across Canada is invited. All of the indigenous nations are invited to this because they all take part. They're all part of that two-row wampum treaty. And also the Silver Covenant chain, which is another one that's really interesting. But that is the job of the Canadian citizens, to uphold and honor those two treaties, not just the government. Because if we do not all learn about it and teach it to our kids, there's always going to be problems. And vice versa on the other side. So we need to, we have a chance to come together and stop all of the nonsense that's going on worldwide. Here in Canada, we can stop it. How? Not by going to court in regards to mandates or whatever. It's by walking through that door and standing up as adults and saying, hey, yes, we're all going to stand together now, and we are all saying yes to self-determination together with the Indigenous nations, to be added to our Constitution as requested in the letter that I sent on March 3rd to the UK. Now our lawyers will begin working on this month, and we want everybody to be ready by the end of July, because that's our official way. It's a celebration of who we are, of who the Indigenous nations are, of the teachings on both sides, and to come together and finally be who we are as co-owners, shareholders of the Crown of Canada. You need to start thinking that way. Not that the government, you know, we still need the government there. We can't cause chaos, but we have to do it in steps. And the first step to cleaning all this up is for you to sign your convention of consent. That's how you first get counted. But then we need you to be physically counted at Parliament as much. They need to see that Canadians are standing up. We're going to fight for our natural resources. We're going to fight for this country, and we're going to stop slavery in this country of employees and of everybody, because our government is treating us and corporations here as though we are their slaves. How many people, you know, were removed from their jobs? But at the same time, if they work for Canada Post, the employees of Canada Post actually own that corporation. They're the employer. So the corporations and the government needs to stop looking at their employees like they're nothing but slaves. They are their actual boss, partaking in helping this country get to where it is. Everybody needs a job, so we all work for our corporation together. And we can make something great. So anyways, I went on and on and on about this, but the time was right. You need to hear this, but we need everybody to stand across Canada and at Parliament, even bigger, more massive than the convoy ever was, so that there's no doubt in the international courts and in the world, and especially the UK, that this is what the Canadian citizens want. Because Trudeau, Pierre-Elliott Trudeau, right up to Justin Trudeau now, and Harper and everybody else in between, Mulroney, none of them looked at our best interests. The only thing they did is make sure to bring up laws where they were protected against us taking our rights. Now that door is wide open. Please join us. We're all the boots on the ground here. You know, all people who are religious or spiritual or whatever, you all know we need to do the work. And here's us doing the work in a celebration, in a coming together with the Indigenous nations to honor the treaties that really matter, to bring them back to life, to bring back to life the fact that it's the people that rule and not people in power. As you know, was said in the UK not too long ago during another conference, is, you know, the people, and we've been telling you this, you are richer and more powerful than you know. The power of the people is more powerful than the people in power. Now, how powerful do you think that will be on July 30th when we have both sides coming together to make Canada what it should have been, what it could be, and for everyone in Canada to be treated as an equal shareholder of the Crown of Canada, to have the same benefits, to have water, to have homes. Somebody in the streets is a shareholder, co-owner of the Crown of Canada. People suffering are all co-owners of the Crown of Canada. There's no reason for them to suffer. So let's get together, begin a new life in Canada with hope, with respect, with compassion, and with an open mind. But please watch the videos on our events page, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm on 6 Nations. I've been here for 13 years. When I heard about the Great Law and the True Rule and the teachings, it gave me something that was priceless. Never would have learned in school. Now we all need to be on the same page. Okay, not saying to go to those traditions, but I'm just saying that respect and learning to listen and looking out for everybody, that's our job now. So join us again. So anyways, now I'm going to give the floor to Geneviève and Liz and Rhonda. Okay, go ahead, girls.
All right, well, that was a great introduction, Nicole. There was a lot of information, and I know that for some of the people who are maybe just have happened to find the PowerShift, it's a lot to take in at first, but I'd just like to remind those people, don't panic, just take it in small steps. And it is in fact really interesting because yes, we do have a lot to learn about old treaties and old traditions and all that, and we need to bring back respect and the art of listening and compassion in our society. We need to work on that a lot. And it's kind of interesting that the PowerShift allows to do that because we need the Indigenous people, they need us. And yes, we can actually, engage in another chapter and make life in Canada a little bit sweeter for everyone. So that was great, Nicole. I guess, yeah, you mentioned like the fact that a lot of people would show up in Ottawa would actually really help the proceedings that you launched in the UK in March.
Yeah.
So maybe just a few words about that a little bit more.
Yeah,
because that's interesting.
Yes, that is interesting because we don't really need a court case until, unless they don't listen, then we'll go to a court case. But right now, legally, all we need to do is put pressure on the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Commonwealth to bring in a motion in Parliament to vote to correct our Constitution, which relieves the UK from their responsibility to our rights to self-determination and to the Indigenous nations' rights to that. And finally, clean their hands from the corruption that the Canadian government made them hold on to since 1982. Yes, Rhonda?
Yeah, and the reason we can do this, because I get this question a lot. How come it's not an amendment? How come you're saying correct? Because we sent up amendment for so long. And the reason is because we found more research. We did more research and we found a loophole whereby the government did not fulfill all of the conditions of the Constitution in 82. They did not fulfill it. That means that the people have not spoken yet. So the correction is the people speaking, and when you look back at constitutional, there was a constitutional committee put together in 79 to 80 in those years. And one of the ongoing themes under the feedback of that was where are the people? Where are the people in the Constitution? How come the people aren't in the Constitution? What about the people? Well, it's now a correction to place us where we always should have been in our Constitution. And like Nicole says, that is above the monarchy can stay there, but the people need to be above that with the head of state powers. That's pretty much the.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting together.
Go ahead, Liz.
We're getting together on July 30th, 31st, and August 1st on Parliament Hill in Ottawa.
Mhm.
So is it a protest? Are we protesting what's happening?
No, it's not a protest. It's a celebration that we are finally coming together the way that we should have been coming together for decades now. The UK has been waiting for us to to come together in a voice. Our own government won't allow us to do it through referendum. They won't. And that's another interesting thing about our history is our referendum history has been in our Constitution since 1867. And it was placed there because it was their loophole to say, hey, the people are a part of this. If the people ever want to have a voice on something, we'll just call a referendum. But it is all heavily guarded by the federal government at the federal government level, and the provinces are not much better at holding referendums when the people want to have a voice. They really have to put pressure on the government in order to have that. Referendums should be commonplace. They shouldn't be a rarity. Referendums are about our voice around policies, and they don't need to be all across Canada all the time, but they certainly need to address so that it addresses the issues that are never discussed for the people. Like what they've done is they've replaced referendums
with committees.
Well, with surveys, with polls, with Angus Reid surveys, Angus Reid polls, in site, like all the survey companies. When you see a survey that's done with approximately 1,600 people across Canada, you can pretty much guarantee it's government backed, because that's what the government does. They use those surveys with 1,600 people across Canada weighted per population in each province. And they say, if we were to have a referendum, this is the outcome that referendum would be. Okay. So in my province, a whole 50 people get to take part in that survey. 50.
Yeah. So we need to show the numbers we need to show the numbers in Ottawa then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is what people don't understand is that even in those surveys, we used to pay incentives, what they call incentives for people. And so you have the same groups watching to fill these out over and over and over again, okay? So they're biased to begin with. So they're not to be trusted. So now we have a chance to really make a difference and to finally be able to stand in our full rights as Canadian citizens and Indigenous nations coming together in unity. And, you know, and I was listening to one of the videos this morning, the pin one, and it's about coming together arm in arm and respecting each other's ways and, you know, having discussions and things and to keep communicating. And I think what better way than July 30th to the 1st of August to learn about each other and to learn to respect and to try to understand why, because the government always took their power into their hands to keep us separated. I mean, the lies, once you see a lot of this, I mean, neither side are perfect. Okay, let me tell you that right now, nobody's perfect, but now it's up to us. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. We need to move forward. But how do we we can't move forward if Canadian citizens don't understand some of the things that happened in history so that we don't make the same mistakes. And that, you know, a lot of people tend to say, well, why did they get so much money in this and that? If I were to tell you, okay, I need a week to sit down with you and explain to you what I read in regards to our natural resources here in Canada. And the Indigenous nations got totally ripped off. People say, how come they're getting $1.3 billion, you know, in Alberta? They need to get more than that. If you understood the value in the last 500 years, that they've stolen from them, you'd be appalled.
Something we don't take into account in our society here in Canada for some reason is once it's gone, it's gone. So it's not the today's value, it is the value for the rest of the duration of that resource that you are signing away.
Yeah, I just want to okay, we didn't talk about this last night, okay, to be fair. I need to say this. But I remember on Six Nations, okay, I couldn't believe it. In 2012 and 2013, we went and got the budget from Band Council. And I'm sitting there and we're reading this and I'm going, well, okay, so Six Nations is supposed to get $19 million for the Rama Casino. To help them, that money was supposed to help them to be able to add more things to the reserve, to get more services and whatnot. Well, guess what? The Canadian government would give them $50 million a year, add the $19 million to that. Well, that would have helped them, right? Because this is a big reserve, $50 million. You don't go far with all these people. So they deducted the 19 million from the 50 million. Yet the Tobacco Corporation, GRE, pays Canada at the time, $220 million in excise tax. 3 years later, it was up to 240 million. In excise tax. Do you think they up? So who is making more money here? Six Nations?
Yeah, we can talk about this. There's so many examples of this all throughout Canada, and every
people
province.
Don't understand.
Yeah, it's quite alarming actually what's being done under our noses, right? Because no one looks at the whole picture. Everybody micromanages to their own little, how does this affect my province or me personally? And that's pretty much as far as people go. So
yeah. So for the first time in history, people, we get to change all this on July 30th. Okay. We get to change this.
We get to change it.
Finally, we fix the past.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
We finally fixed the past, and we also have a path forward for the next 7 generations. It's because this is going to take a long time to come to fruition. This is not something like what we're doing is the first baby step of a lot of things that are going to be happening after that. And how are those things happening? With everybody. They're happening with all of us. Like, people keep asking how many people have signed, how long is this going to take, what do, all of that stuff. And basically, enough people have signed when enough people have signed. There's no magic number. Everyone keeps saying 51%. Well, if we were going for an amendment, it would be 51%, but we're not going for amendment. We're going for correction. We just need to demonstrate that enough people in Canada want this. So it's probably going to come up to a time versus a number. Then it's about everybody, everybody needs to get involved, not just a few people. Everybody needs to get involved. If you want a hero to save you, it's the person that's looking back at you in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth in the morning or brushing your hair or washing your face. That's who your hero is. You're the hero for your children, because that only you are going to be able to protect your children. That's the way that goes. And we all do this together. And then all together, we tell our networks the same thing. It's all about spreading the information. And then Canada-wide, we keep talking about Ottawa, and that's great because we're going to have this big celebration in Ottawa, but we want it to be Canada-wide. And because we don't want anybody left out. If you want to have a celebration in your in your community that weekend, by all means, organize a celebration in your community that weekend. It's not a protest, it is a celebration. Have a celebration. Talk to the Indigenous community in your area and get them involved. That's all we need to do.
But if I don't come to Ottawa, can I still be counted?
Yes, that's exactly. Yes, everybody's counted, regardless if you show up in Ottawa or not. Everybody who signs their convention of consent is counted. We're just demonstrating visually on that weekend, that long weekend, because it's Heritage Day weekend. What a better long weekend to be bringing the two heritages of our country together, to be respectful and harmony, and to finally start working together. We should have been working together for centuries.
Yeah, I mean,
since the beginning.
All along,
and that's
before corporate interests got involved, the people did work together. That's the ugly history of Canada as well. So
but in regards, but see, Rhonda, in regards to this is what people need to understand. What we're talking about is in regard to our Constitution, the legal aspect of who's the head of state of this country, not the Queen. Not the government.
It's all of us.
The Indigenous peoples on one side and Canadians on the other, coming together in our Constitution for the first time. They were already in our Constitution, but only under a section. That's not the point.
They were actually in the Constitution. They're actually already in the Constitution. Do you know who's not in the Constitution? Canadians. We're nowhere we are nowhere in our own Constitution. Nowhere. We don't exist.
Not with collective rights, not with collective rights.
We have individual rights, but what I'm getting at is we are not in our Constitution with any, like our Constitution goes for pages and pages discussing the powers, the division of powers of Canada. And the treaties are the new part of that was added in 82. But Canadians themselves don't exist anywhere in there at all. At all. Our government could turn around and say, hey, we're never having another election. And
so individually, they can take away our rights. That's what the laws that they've created against us. Okay. However, if you read that 13-page letter that I sent to the UK, there's no debate. We already have that right. We already have the right to step into those shoes, people. We can't go in and start marching into Parliament. We can't do that. We cannot create chaos. We cannot create chaos at the international level. We cannot create an economic chaos. All we need to do right now is to be representative of who we truly are by showing up first by signing a convention of consent, and then showing up physically either at Parliament or in your city with the power shift to freedom, because that's really what it is. The power shift to freedom belongs to each and every single Canadian citizen. That's your action that you need to take right now. The Indigenous nations don't need to do it. That's already set for them. But we're the ones that need to come together in our signing that convention of consent to say, yes, now we're signing this. It's a legally binding contract between each Canadian citizen that signs this with all others who have signed. And then we stand up in that right, and there's no denying. There can be, the reason why we're asking you to show up and why it's so important. This is the most important moment in the history of Canada and the world. The whole Haudenosaunee, the great law, when all the Indigenous peoples had the power of that got destroyed over time. Their rights got destroyed. And then why? Because ours were already destroyed through the monarchies and everything else, So now we're setting on, we're all of that. We can fix that. So I know my internet's a little bit slow there. So please bear with us. But it's a moment in history you can't miss. You can't miss. please be there.
So I know we're trying to mirror the discussion that happened last night in French, and I don't speak a lick of French. I don't understand any of it. So I'm relying on you guys. So what are some things that we haven't covered yet?
Okay, so
last night?
Jen, let's talk about the membership. What do the members need to do?
The members, well, actually members and anybody who wants to volunteer, obviously to get there to the event to Ottawa, like Nicole and Rhonda said, we need to sign a convention of consent, and that's on the thePowerShift.ca. It's one of those actions that you see on your page. We need to sign up for the event on the Facebook page so that we know who to expect, how many people to expect.
And there's 3 days to sign up, eh?
That's right. That's
3 separate days.
Yeah, Rhonda.
Are we going to have a place for people to sign up on the website? Because not everybody's on Facebook.
Well, we're not really, what we're doing, we're not really asking them to sign up in that sense, you know, that people just need to show up, but we need to know, to have an idea of the interest. That's why we kept it in the events page on Facebook. Okay, because I mean, everybody knows something happens, there's changes, you know, and to do it on our webpage, we can get used to, we can fix something that you guys can sign on there. But from what we've seen events that 60 to 70,000 people signed up to go to, and only maybe 400 showed up. Okay, we want your commitment. We need you to commit through your heart, through wanting to protect this country, and to want to protect your family's future and the future of all other Canadians and Indigenous nations and the rest of the world. Like, I mean, you know, talk is cheap. Show up to Parliament, sign your convention. That's truth.
That's what's intense right now, is to understand that we've been online for a few years, right? Like Zooms, and everybody's been watching other people's and other groups' lives and all that. And now it's like, oh my God, we actually have to show up somewhere and do something concrete. Yes, we do. And, you know, I hope people understand that there's a lot at stake, but this action is quite simple. The PowerShift, you guys have been saying it all along, is a quiet, intelligent revolution for the 21st century. There is nothing to be ashamed of. There is nothing to be worried about, because we are all within our rights. So signing the convention and showing up in Ottawa, you're not doing anything remotely illegal or dangerous. Everything is according to the laws, and it's our rights. So if people are in any way worried about that, just get that out of your head, and you're not doing anything illegal. So, you know, let's do this. And yes, we need to tell everyone, we need to you can bring your kids, you can bring your families, anyone who's over 15 years old, right, can sign the convention of consent. So teenagers obviously have every right to be there also and to celebrate with us. And yes, we will need people to help with actually like logistics on site. We'll need people to help us set up from 10 to 11 or noon. We'll need people to help us you know, tear down every night, because we need to be out of there by 5 on every day. We need people to look out for picking up garbage, cleaning up like the facilities and all that, maybe passing around flyers, making sure that everybody who ends up there knows what's going on and know where to sign their convention. And because we will actually be having people sign on to site, like sign the convention on site. And also carpooling to Ottawa. And actually, that's why Nicole mentioned PowerShift parties before. My spouse, Richard, you see Richard at thePowerShift.ca on the bottom of my screen. My spouse, Richard, is helping me with this. And we want to help people get organized to actually, you know, make it there to Ottawa or do their own thing in their own areas. So if people can volunteer with carpooling or any other task that we might not have foreseen so far, you can contact us. You can write us an email, and we'll try to see what we can do and make sure that everybody's organized and can mobilize for that very big, important weekend.
So you mentioned about everything being legal and all that, but what about the flags? Some flags that we've seen flown around are maybe not quite they're very anyways. Maybe Nicole, you could clarify what flags should be presented.
What we're doing here, it's not a protest. So what we need to show is respect, that we have honor, that we believe in who we are. So the only flags acceptable there will be the Canadian flag, the Indigenous flags, the provincial flags, and our PowerShift flags, okay? Because we need to portray to the world the movement that we're doing. This is about the PowerShift and the power of the government being flipped around to the people where it should have been. So we don't have time for fuck Trudeau, you know. Although, you know, when I first saw them, I thought, oh yeah, okay. I mean, same sentiment here, right? And even more so. But at the same time, it's like, no, this is an honorable thing that we're doing in respect of the Indigenous nations. We don't want nothing derogatory, no bad signs, no nothing. This is not about what's been going on, what you're pissed off about. This is about you, your family, and the rest of the people in this country making a legitimate legal action and making it count, because everybody else in the world can do the same.
So if you are pissed off about something, if you are frustrated about something, this is your way to show up personally that isn't going to get you in the news as being called something else, that isn't going to get you labeled as something else, that isn't going, it's just you are actually coming into your power with this. And your anger, if you're really angry about what's going on in Canada, most of us are. So it's about using that, channeling that into something that's productive instead of destructive. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So we do not, sorry, Liz, I just want to add that we do not support any negativity and anything that's going to be negative. We're going there with open hearts, open arms. And what we need to see is that circle being made with every Canadian Indigenous person there, arm in arm, in respect. And respect means leave the crap at home, please. This is for you.
It would be wonderful to have a circle with people, every representation from all of the Indigenous across Canada and everyone from every province across Canada, and a circle of all of us holding hands to represent we're all finally all together. That's what this is about.
So what if there's people that have never come to any event like this for the last 2 years? Maybe Jen can answer this. What should they bring? What is going to be needed?
Okay, well, obviously lawn chairs and blankets. Lawn chairs are a bit more clunky to bring, but blankets if you're comfortable sitting on the ground. And it's the summer, so we'll need water, we'll need sunscreen. Nicole will have umbrellas to sell if I'm not, yeah, that's right. So either to hide from the sun or from the rain if it rains a little bit. Yeah. And we can bring our own food. It's a celebration, right? So we can have picnics and all that, and just everything that people might need to be comfortable while they're there.
Yeah. And what about facilities?
Well, there will be some. Yes.
Yes. You know, we're not young people, and you'll probably lose us every half hour, maybe on the hour. One of us has to disappear. I'll guarantee just look for the bathroom section.
I have a question. Are we going to be contacting the businesses in that area that are restaurants, coffee shops, convenience stores, to let them know that there is going to be a celebration happening? I know they're gearing up because Heritage Day celebration is that weekend as well. But are we going to let them know that there's going to be an additional group coming, and to anticipate additional people coming into the store needing supplies and that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, that all depends. I mean, how can I say, they already know tons of people are going to be there anyways for the celebrations. Once they start hearing about us, they need to be also at Parliament with us, arm in arm. Okay,
that's true.
Because you know, as far as Ottawa goes, you know, the city might think that it's independent from the government, but it's not. We own it. Each and every single one of us owns every city in Canada. Okay, but hang on, but I need to finish this. But we need to be respectful of that. Why do I say we own it? because you need to start thinking that way. But you can't be a bully, because you can't do anything on your own, even if you own it. It has to be the collective. Okay, that's the key. You want to stop paying taxes? Go and get 51% of Canadians to back you up. You've got to.
It's a great life lesson. Yeah, this is a great life lesson before Rhonda makes her point, because yeah, we're always brought up to think like, oh, me. No, but if we want something good to happen in this country, we need everybody. So this is the time to start.
This is also the first time that we're going to have a celebration that doesn't involve political parties, that doesn't involve any political speeches, that doesn't involve any type of vein. So it does not matter whether you are left, right, center, high, low, does not matter. It is about everybody.
And I also want to mention that obviously something like this doesn't happen on its own. If you guys can give a little, give a lot in form of donations, come to our website at thepowershift.ca, thepowershift.ca, and donate. We would appreciate that tremendously. Make this happen.
I have something to say about that as well. I don't know if people have noticed, but we're getting asked this a lot through social media now. How long is this going to take? We're getting this a lot. Let me tell you, if we had infinite funding like the government does and like some other organizations do, this would be done one heck of a lot faster. Right now it's bootstrapping and self-funding and asking for donations.
Pulling teeth.
So we can only move as fast as the money comes in. Even our legal team can only move as fast as we can put money in the trust fund. So that is, that's as fast as we can move, folks. So
and everybody who's working for PowerShift is a volunteer, no perks, no nothing.
We don't get paid. Nobody showing up is getting paid to speak. Nobody showing up is getting paid to, we're looking for sponsors to help with some of the other expenses and that sort of thing, but that's.
Yeah, well, this is about every Canadian citizen, whether they're a doctor, they're a specialist, they're a star, I don't care. Everybody needs to pull their weight. Nobody needs to get paid for this. It would be totally wrong. Everybody has a stake in our future. They need to stand up. And that's why, if people think that we're going to be paying people to come and speak, this is about the people. This is about our freedom. This is about getting the job done. And if the people who really want to speak and really want to be heard, well, again, it has to do with what we're doing. Not about mandates. It's about thinking, opening your mind, and daring to dream about your future. A bunch of doctors need to get together. How are they going to go after, the medical association, make things better? Everything needs to change after we start, but a little bit at a time. We don't overthrow government. We don't need the international hassle, because then the countries could say, oh, we're not going to recognize you as a country now. Then we're in doo-doo, okay? That's the reality. So before people start thinking, oh, we're going to do this, nuh-uh. Somebody mentioned Marcus Ray. We don't know much about that, but the thing is no, we have zero tolerance for threats for anything. We want to do it the smart way. And that's what the government is not expecting, because the government is expecting people to rise and to be nasty, just
like they are to us.
Yeah.
Just exactly like they are to us. Yeah.
So let's be wise and do it the great law way. Okay. And embrace our future coming. It's going to be scary. It's not going to be all that easy in that sense. But hey, we've got terrific people in Canada, terrific Indigenous peoples who can all come together and fix what's wrong first. Save people that are being martyred right now in our own country, the seniors, the children, the people being forced vaccinated, all of these things. Okay. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is the rest of your life. Because if we do nothing today, leading up to July 30th, we're going to lose this to the Great Reset. And then you become a perpetual slave to corporation, body, mind, and soul. Go to horizons.ca to where they want to turn everybody to a transhuman. This is from our Canadian government website, people. We're not lying. You want to stop this? You be there July 30th and help every which way you can, because we don't, how can I say, we have a lawyer here, but we need multitude of lawyers in the UK to back us up and to bring injunctions and to fight, because the governments are going to send, 6 to 12 lawyers, if not 24, from each side to argue. One lawyer cannot argue against all of them. We need at least.
We need a lot. We need a lot.
Well, we've got quite a bit that want to join in. So there's a place for everybody, and they too have to be considerate that it's to save them as well. But we can't ask the UK lawyers to sit on the side for Canadians, okay, and not get paid.
So now, so it's a celebration, and you just said that the doctors, for instance, as an example, the doctors need to think of a future of the way that they want to build it. So this comes to our Dare to Dream contest and our Dare to Dream. Maybe Jen can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, and Rhonda, I think you said before, if you're angry and all that, yes, if you're angry, let it out. We have a video contest right now on the thePowerShift.ca page where you can make a little video and you can be creative. You don't necessarily have to show your face. You can put up a sign. You can just record your voice. We want to hear how you're feeling and what you're dreaming about, what you want for this Canada, what you want for yourself, for your children, for the other generations to come. What are your dreams? And yes, there's a video contest, and the 3 best videos get to win little prizes each month. And that's going to be going on, I believe, until the end of October. And the event in Ottawa, right, Nicole, is called Dare to Dream to a Better Way Forward. So that's where we need to keep our eyes up front, and we're dreaming about the future, the near future. Yeah. And I just wanted to ask Nicole to just maybe talk about a little bit more detail for anyone who's new and who doesn't really know where you're coming from, because the big thing for the past 2 years has been, oh, this group, that group are fighting about mandates and all that. But the PowerShift has been going on for way before COVID, right? The Convention of Consent was written a few years ago, and you've been active for a while. And 2014. And your strategy is to go around that and bring a really definite solution. So maybe just a little bit more words about that.
Yeah, that is actually going and looking at the root cause. The only ones who sign documents in this country is the government. The only one subjecting people to poverty is the government. The only ones allowing the Great Reset and going over there, then infiltrating our governments and all of our levels, and then using our funds. This is insider trading. Insider trading. We are a corporation. We are the shareholders. We can do something about that, people. But until we rise, we can't. Okay.
People don't realize that we have all that power, because obviously we're not taught that in school. Politicians never will explain that to us, obviously.
Oh, no.
So Nicole's the only one. Nicole's the only one who comes out of nowhere. And if you're new to this and you're hearing these lies for the first time, you're like, what? But yeah, it's actually in there.
The government spends vast amounts of energy and finances every year to keep us divided.
Well,
that's it.
Okay. Hey, the greatest thing that I heard about Quebec was that Legault is giving everybody $500 to go vote. Okay. He's not giving free money, people. He's giving your money in Quebec. The Quebecers. He's telling you he's going to give you $500 while he's ripping you off your treasury.
He's charging
it's easy to give other people.
He's charging you
Charging you.
$500 to vote. That's really what's happening.
Anything, people, anything the government offers you, it's your own money. Please grow up. Show up at Parliament. Sign your convention. Stop arguing about everything else. But do this, and then you can argue about whatever you want. But please do this. It's our last chance. We will not be here next year. We will not be here past December if this doesn't get done. This is serious. It's your last chance.
Once they bring in digital ID, it's
coming out in July.
Yeah.
They've already started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that
But the
digital
thing
ID.
is, listen,
that-
yeah, but I want to say something, Rhonda, in regards to digital ID, even they're bringing it out now, the faster we get this done, the faster we're in charge of that digital ID, and we can.
And it
change
cannot be used, and it cannot be used against us then, because that's exactly what it's going to be used right now, is against all of us.
I also want Nicole to again say those precious, precious words that with the PowerShift, with this big change that we're bringing about, we can be going through decade and decades going back, fixing everything, right? So if they're forcing us to accept things that we don't want, we'll be able to fix that.
Sign your
Is that
convention
right?
and show up at Parliament or in your city and write, get yourself a big banner or make yourself a card. PowerShift. We need to send one message, not 50,000. That's why we do not want you to show up with all kinds of cards protesting this and that, because it doesn't send a clear message. That's why protesting does not work. Let's make this one count. It's not a protest. It's freedom.
It's a freedom. It's for our
Step
freedom.
into your right for your freedom, and we're doing it that day.
It's about showing that we have finally grown up. That's what it is, because it's showing that we are ready. There are 3 times in our history that our government, prime ministers could have given us our collective rights, given us the position of the head of state. Each time they used phrases that equated to they are not ready. And they actually used those words a few times, but they are not ready. They are not ready. They're the teens. They're now at the teen stage. They are not ready. That was Pierre Elliott Trudeau equated us to a young country where the citizenry was at the teenage stage. We're past that. We're past that. We are ready.
Yeah. So it might not happen overnight. After we do this, this is just so that we have the physical proof that this is what Canadians want. And they won't be able to say, oh, well, you're signing, the signatures are corrupt or whatever, or it's not even true, or stand up, be counted in the physical on July 30th. That's big enough.
Oh, I just want to say one more thing. The Convention of Consent is not a petition. Your information is never handed out. Your email is not added to an email list. It stays 100% private. Your information, your own individual Convention of Consent is assigned a number. Only those numbers are used to demonstrate the power of the people. That's it.
Yeah. And when you sign that, you go to our website, thepowershift.ca, French or English. You'll see a video right at the beginning when the page opens up, and that's a video to show you how to sign your Convention of Consent. So there's no excuses. Some people might have a hard time because they're doing it on their phones and they're not scrolling the right way or far enough, and they're missing steps. So please be aware of that. But on the last day in August, it's going to be a meet and greet. Try to get people in, we're going to try and get on stage, and we're going to say, okay, who's from Ontario? Raise your hand. We're going to have everybody sit down and get up. From Ontario? Okay, in that corner, please. Okay, let's get together. Let's get to know each other. Let's start changing our provinces. What do you want to change in your province? On the Monday, it's about communicating. It's about getting people who have not signed, don't know about their Convention of Consent. We're going to have new people coming into Ottawa for their heritage party at the Rideau Canal, and they might show up at Parliament. We'll get them to sign their Convention of Consent. But on the Monday, it's about everybody being recognized from what province you're with, and or whatever community, and let's see if we can start those committees to start moving forward, because we need to change a lot of things that we might not know is going on in your community. And we can all start working for the better of everybody this way. Okay, it's like, I need to give you this example. My family doctor hopefully will show up to speak, because she works with the Indigenous health, and she cannot give the Indigenous peoples the same medication as we get. She can prescribe something for me, cannot prescribe it for them. And that makes her mad. It makes me mad. How, you know how you felt you couldn't get ivermectin? Imagine. They've been treated like this forever.
For their whole lives.
So let's get together, do a lot of healing, and understanding how this country is. It's a makeshift. Our country, Canada, is pieces of puzzles everywhere, scattered in between the Indigenous nations territories. So please keep that in mind. No provinces could ever separate. And even if we went to the Great Reset, good luck with that one. You ain't gonna get it either. So people have to choose: Great Reset, destitution to their lives, their freedom,
government controlling everything,
or this.
Or this, yeah.
And this is the way
this is your choice.
It should have been like this for a long time, like you said before. We should have had those rights a long time ago.
Yeah.
So everything in the past 2 years might not even have happened that way. So
no, and the reason why we're
on that.
Yeah. The reason why we're doing it this way, there's a certain way that we need to do it, otherwise it won't work. So when we ask you to do something, please do it. It's because we have to walk a very fine, there's a fine line between dictatorship and freedom.
Say that again, please.
There's a fine line between dictatorship and freedom. Dictatorship all depends on who makes the final decisions at the end of the day. You or the government. Or the buy that all the people have no clue, but the new world government established in 2017. Are you going to stand for that? Are you going to stand up for your country and fight? Now's the time to fight. The pen is mightier than the sword. And then your physical at Parliament on that day or across Canada, everyone needs to rise. Everybody needs nothing important. Not fishing, not hunting, not going to the girlfriend's house, barbecue party here. Forget that. You need to be serious. There's nothing else that matters the most. Not your children, not your parents, unless you have to go and feed them. Okay, and then, but the thing is what we're talking about here is nothing else matters. No person should be unaware of this, because this is the rest of your lives. You're all shareholders. You need to stand up. You're losing your corporation, and you're right. Corporations, somebody else to let's save. Instead of taxation, we can be making dividends. You want universal income? You're going to slavery. You're going to slavery. You will give away rights for anything else. You don't want to do that.
Nicole, you're really breaking up, Nicole.
Yeah. Like what you're saying is important, and we're missing most of it.
I think she completely froze now. You've been freezing and breaking up?
Because what you're saying is important, and we're missing it.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is that there's nothing more important. Not your children, nobody. You and your children should be at Parliament that day. If you've got a sick parent, or you've got no way of going, find a ride. Call us. Maybe we can get everybody to bring buses. But there's a will, there's a way. Or get counted in your city. You can go there. But please be counted. This is the one chance you have to make a difference. Nothing is more important on this planet right now than July 30th. Make it count.
So remember, if you're planning to have a party in your city, a celebration in your city, if you would like to do that, contact Richard at thepowershift.ca. The email is right at the bottom of Genevieve's screen, right? Yeah, I can't. So contact Richard at thepowershift.ca. They will get you organized. If you are wanting to offer ride shares, likewise, Richard at thepowershift.ca. If you know a bus company that would donate buses to go across from each corner of Canada or each side of Canada, that would be awesome. But again, we're self-funded, so we're going to need.
So we need to be resourceful.
we do not want to do fundraising to reimburse people for gas. We're not going to do that. We would rather have the businesses and organizations and all of that step up and donate or help source those things to help get people to Ottawa. And the reason for that is businesses are affected by this as well. Businesses are slowly being, under control, and, their ability to make income that's not hampered by government regulations is becoming very narrow. So, and it's soon going to disappear altogether should they not also get involved.
Yes, and we will showcase logos and the such in Ottawa for sure.
Sponsors,
absolutely.
If anybody wants to sponsor, and if people are living in the Ottawa area too, they can also write to us, and if they have a room or a couch to offer, we can also try to help people be set up with room and board kind of thing. So everything is possible. Campaign, yes, in people's yards or whatever. So we have to be resourceful, obviously. I mean, the government has a bigger war machine than we do, but we can be smarter, right? Can actually
they have our war machine.
They have,
they do. Actually, they do. It's not fair.
These people,
we just
try to remember when the government opens its mouth or its wallet, it's your money, and you can't have access. You want access? Be at Parliament. It won't happen overnight, but the thing is we can make the decisions and make sure that we turn taxation into dividends. No universal income. We don't need that. We can make this country prosper and make us all prosper as equal shareholders, Indigenous alike and Canadian citizens. There is a way. You just need to stop and listen, keep an open mind, keep an open heart. And when you see an Indigenous person, if they're not afraid of a hug, give them one. Because without each other, they can't do it without us. Legally, we can't do it without them. We have a fine line to follow. And freedom means the people rule on both sides of the two-row wampum treaty in Canada the way it should have been. And we'll leave you with that. Anything else, ladies? Last words?
I can't wait to meet the people that I've been communicating with and give them a hug on Parliament Hill in true Canadian style. Let's start that snowball going down that hill so that we can pick up some momentum.
Imagine the people wondering. Imagine the people worldwide wondering, what are they doing now? What did Canadians come up with now?
Yeah, exactly.
Our true rights.
Yeah.
What are you guys waiting for? Legally, we already have that right. So legally, we're standing up and we're telling the UK and the international courts and worldwide, we're stepping into our rights.
And this is
our
everybody.
Collective political and civil rights. Never forget those words. You are practicing your collective political and civil rights and all your other rights. And the World Health cannot supersede your human rights from the United Nations. And we're going to fix that problem as well.
And this is all of us together. It's not about a certain industry spearheading this. It's not about a certain political group spearheading this. This is all of us.
All the people. This is about you.
Taking away all of the things that keep us divided and beginning to bring us together as a whole for the first time.
Let's fix the wrongs. We can do that. We've got the power, people. People power, Parliament Hill, July 30th, 31st, and August 1st. We'll see you there. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
PowerShift.ca.